And tomorrow we can...
It's not just the shouted advice of the Scottish football fan that can be difficult to understand. The passion he expends on games that are sometimes mind-numbingly ordinary presents its own mystery. It is that passionate identification with 11 jerseys in pursuit of a goal that has made the Scottish Football Club. The commitment of the fans is the true measure of the club. That's why Rangers and Celtic have dominated the Scottish game for most of its history. No club match in the world better illustrates the importance the football club came to have in industrial society. It was an instant identity, a source of theatre in drab lives. Moments of grace would become part of oral history. Every incident was enlarged by the commitment of the fans. For that reason, a football match that is sparsely attended, no matter how knowledgeable the spectators may be, has a ghostly quality. Isolated shouts reverberate round the stadium as if looking for company. The applause sounds eerie. Football grounds in Scotland were built at a time when the crowds were assured. In cities and towns all over the country, the football stadium testifies to the space football has occupied in the lives of working-class Scots. Large or small, the club has tended to be an integral part of the place it serves. For most of the week, the ground lies empty, seemingly irrelevant to the real business of the community that goes on around it. But for generations, it has fulfilled a real and important function. It is one place where, again and again, the fans can turn up and reaffirm their sense of where they come from. But the beginnings of club football were modest enough. A letter dated 1868 from Queen's Park confirms the first fixture with 20 players on each side. Queen's Park opened their first ground at Hampden in 1873. They were the team which played the most important role in the early development of club football, but their preeminence was soon to be challenged by two other teams. Glasgow Green was an appropriate setting for the start of one of the most famous club rivalries in football. There in 1890, Celtic and Rangers played their first fixture. Any municipal football park in Scotland is a piece of highly evocative ground, haunted by urgent voices and lost energy and small, fierce dreams. It is fitting that out of that atmosphere of countless scratch games should have come Rangers and Celtic, the two most famous representatives of the people's game in Scotland. For half a century and more, the two teams were to share the dominance of Scottish football. With a support vastly bigger than most other clubs, they won both the League and the Scottish Cup many times. It began to seem almost inevitable that if one wasn't claiming the major honours in any given season, the other would be. The success of Rangers and Celtic built the two clubs into rival institutions, known collectively as the Old Firm. Other teams must have felt at times that they were only there to make up the numbers. The talent of the teams combined with their differing religious affiliations made them fierce opponents. Such intense rivalry often led to bad moments both off and on the park. In 1931, it was the Celtic goalkeeper John Thompson's fearless commitment to his club that helped to cause his tragic death.
I was only about 3 yards away from where the accident happened. People have thought that Sam English kicked John Thompson. John Thompson dived onto Sam English's kneecap. The leg that was firm in the ground, he kicked with his right foot, put the ball past the post, and then John Thompson dived on to his kneecap and fractured his skull. We knew it was serious, But how serious, we didn't know until the ambulance men came out and stretchered them off.
The playing personnel might change, but the traditions of the two clubs continued unbroken. Their position as apparently unchanging institutions in Scottish life was embodied in two long-serving managers. For Celtic, it was Willie Maley. In his 52 years with the club, he was to be player, match secretary, honorary secretary and secretary-manager. He saw his team achieve remarkable success during his time with them. In 1937, Celtic defeated Aberdeen 2-1 to bring the Scottish Cup to Celtic Park for the 16th time. When Willie Maley retired in 1940, a Glasgow newspaper summed up his career by saying that the club and all it stands for has been his life's work. His successful counterpart at Ibrox for 40 years was Bill Struth, a formidably authoritarian figure.
I was frightened of him. What would you say? The army officer style. So erect. And he carried himself that way, and you felt that this is a great man.
I was getting prepared for the game, and suddenly I saw these spats appear. That was Mr. Struth, always very smartly dressed. And he said, "How much do I pay you a week, boy?" No, I was 16 at that time. I said, £1 a week, sir. He said, "Well, anybody that can clean his boots or keep them polished like that deserves more than £1 a week. From now on, you'll get £2 a week." And I never told him, I had to tell him, I never cleaned my boots, my mother cleaned them.
Bill Struth was a tough man, but he did epitome. He was Rangers, without a doubt. That's what we need in our football today. We need huge figures to be identified with our clubs. Our clubs have been run by too many little people.
The arrival of Moscow Dynamo at Ibrox foreshadowed the importance that European competition would have for the major Scottish clubs. But before the old firm were to achieve success in Europe, their supremacy at home was to be challenged by three teams that came out of the East. Edinburgh's great Hibernian team of the late 40s and early 50s was a side far less likely to lose goals than to score them.
Gibbs' left winger Orman tussles with Morrison, but the Dons goalie gets the better of him. Now Smith is leading a Hibs attack on the right wing. He tricks left half Glenn and centres. Riley and Morrison clash, and Morrison...
Though they won 3 league championships, the dull facts failed to convey the enjoyment their football could give.
When right half Nichols slams it back. And when Riley makes it 3-4, the battle...
Their marvellous forward line, the famous five, remains one of the most stirring collections of names ever heard in Scottish football. Smith, Johnston, Riley, Turnbull and Ormond.
The goals came easy because they played a different system then, and we were on a very, very good side. Everything was geared to scoring goals with the Hibs then, but then we were one of the top side in world football. You know, they used to, in the pubs at the time when we played, they used to lay bets. They'll say that we'll be playing any of the local average teams, and they would say, right, we'll give you 3 goals a start today. Just to try and get a bet, they had to give 3 goals a start. And more often than not, they won their bet. Many years ago, I watched Gordon Smith running up the wing here, keeping the ball up in his head, and he kept it up 6 times. Now, it was a bit of a credit to Thurlanich, who didn't hack him down. He was allowed to do that. Nowadays, I can't see anybody being allowed to do that, but it was something that I've only ever seen once in my lifetime, and the supporters still speak about it yet, the old supporters.
Now a Hearts attack. Alfie Conn loses it. Jimmy Wartaw gets it away. He's impeded, but Mackay comes to the rescue.
Edinburgh launched another attack on the west of Scotland's self-confidence with the Hearts team of the 50s. A team with a large support and capable of winning 2 league championships was not going to be easily stopped, whatever the opposition.
But centre-forward Willie Ball soon brings it back down the left wing. Ball centres. Young and Fallon jump, but Crawford's there, and it's another goal for Hearts.
Their football was a stylish celebration of athleticism, and along with the style went an aggressive determination.
Ball goes loose, and Hearts kick upfield. Willie Ball beats Bobby Evans. Alfie Conn shoots, and Beattie can't save it. Hearts 3, Celtic 1.
From the temporary disappointment of the old firm's hopes emerged 3 especially memorable names: Conn, Bald and Wartaw. But they were only the most celebrated members of a team whose overall strength deserved every award it won.